Authorities releasing hundreds of documents about the murders of 4 University of Idaho students at the hands of Bryan Kohberger. The documents, in gruesome detail, explain how the bodies of Kaylee Goncalves, Madison Mogen, Xana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin were found after being stabbed at their off-campus home. On the night of the killings, Funk said she heard what she thought was a firework and saw a spark on the ground from under her door. The new details come just hours after Kohberger was forced to face the friends and families of his victims at his sentencing hearing.
I was being harassed by Metro Brainwave. I was working. And here's what I uncovered regarding the murder of the 4 University of Idaho students. And I'm going to start from the beginning to the end. Before you watch this video, you don't have to believe anything I say. Everything that I'm saying and most of everything that happened to the students that night and before is evidenced in the app that Rebecca Schofield used to communicate with all of her collaborators. So if there is anybody who doesn't care about spiritual wisdom or does not understand spiritual wisdom, and you have the authority to do more, to get evidence, you can, if you have the legal authority to, subpoena Rebecca Schofield's electronics. We subpoena these collaborative book apps, whatever you need to do to discover everything you need to know. When it was more open, they potentially even went on some type of vacation or met up somewhere, maybe even Mexico, but that would need to be clarified because other people were there. So when it's me talking about Rebecca Schofield and Kaylee may be new to some ears, but it's not new to the people who knew about it. So it's a lot of people that's being silent about their knowledge of Kaylee and Rebecca's relationship. So anyway, back to this point where Rebecca feels threatened. She feels that Kaylee is going to tell on her. So she decides to concoct or come up with a plan to have Kaylee killed. So to free herself from this mental suffering, to free herself of this problem, and to make sure that her secret is safe, she felt like she needed to kill Kaylee. And then eventually, she felt like she needed to kill Kaylee and her friends. So before she executed the murders or hired someone to execute the murders, she spent some time stalking them. So she would sit in her car and watch them. And it could have been her car or a rental, but she would watch them. She's like, no, you're gonna get the help. He's like, no, I'm not. So they're going back and forth about Bryan Kohberger even being there and helping. Bryan Kohberger is witnessing this argument. He starts to argue with tell Bryan Kohberger to back off. That's the reason why Rebecca Schofield got put in the middle of it anyway, because Bryan Kohberger got her like, what's going on? So Bryan Kohberger just backs off. He says, forgive each other. I'm gonna turn a blind eye. So he turns a blind eye and leaves. That gave Jack DeCour the energy to complete the job, because it's like, okay, everything that he thought he was going to have is on the line, and that put some fire in his for him to finish the job.
The federal court records, an Idaho jury reached that multi-million-dollar verdict back on February 27th after a 3-day defamation trial.
Ashley Geard accused U of I professor Rebecca Schofield of the murders of Kaylee Goncalves, Madison Mogen, Ethan Chapin, and Xana Kernodle on her TikTok account. Millions of people saw the videos, and when Geard did not take them down, Schofield sued. She claimed the videos damaged her reputation and caused her distress, including threats.
On November 13, 2022, 4 University of Idaho students were brutally stabbed to death in their off-campus home in Moscow, Idaho. Their murders shook the country, devastated their families, and sparked one of the most closely watched true crime investigations in recent memory. Today, we're revisiting this case, not to re-sensationalize the tragedy, but because a major legal development has emerged involving the TikToker Ashley Gillard and University of Idaho professor Rebecca Schofield. For years, Ashley publicly claimed without evidence that Rebecca orchestrated the murders. A federal jury has now ruled those claims were defamatory. Bryan Kohberger was arrested on December 30th, 2022, after a weeks-long investigation that involved local police, state authorities, and the FBI. According to official case records, he was charged with 4 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of felony burglary. There is now a final judgment in the civil case between Ashley Gillard and Rebecca Schofield. This ruling is significant not only for the people directly involved, but for the broader conversation about online speculation, true crime content, and the real-world harm that can come from reckless accusations. It also marks a rare moment where a court has drawn a firm line between commentary and defamation in the social media era. Before we get into the update, I want to acknowledge the 4 young lives at the center of this tragedy. Their families are still grieving, and their memories deserve respect as we discuss the ripple effects of this case. So keep it respectful in the comments. Let's break down what the jury found, what this means for Schofield, how Gilliard is responding, and why this case matters for anyone who follows or creates true crime content online.
Karma's a bitch. Queen of Karma.
Hello, everyone. Hello. How are you all doing today? I hope that you're all doing very, 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 very well. I covered this case when it first started back in 2022. I have linked that in the description down below. So if you don't remember what's going on, though, don't worry. I'm going to give you an update. But some things have been happening, and they have a final judgment. So without further ado, let's just get right into what is going on. Hello, Violet. So glad that you could make it. I don't think I shared this in the Discord. Let them know in the Discord that I'm live. But yes, all right. So let's get into the case details before we do anything else, because I think that it is important so that you understand what is going on here. You know, in case you didn't see my live stream about this in 2022, or you're like, Queen, it's like 4 years later, how the hell am I supposed to remember that? Fair. All right? That's fair. So let me update you. In November of 2022, 4 University of Idaho students were murdered. Ashley Gilliard, the girl on the left, begins posting TikTok videos accusing Rebecca Schofield. And in my original video, we went through some of the TikToks. It was insanity. And in my intro, I just played some of it for you. Crazy, crazy story time stuff. In December of 2022, Schofield files the defamation lawsuit in U.S. District Court for the District of Idaho. In August of 2023, Judge Patricio dismissed Ashley Gillard's counterclaims against Schofield. She tried to countersue her and say, you know, she's also attacking me and defaming me now. June 6 of 2024, the judge grants partial summary judgment for Rebecca Schofield on the issue of liability, ruling that Ashley Gilliard defamed Schofield as a matter of law. So the judge basically rules and says, yes, this is defamation. We are going to court and everything. In June of 2025, Bryan Kohberger, who is the actual murderer in this case, pleads guilty to 4 murders and is sentenced to 4 life terms. Lock the man up, throw away the fucking key. Fuck him, right? In February of 2026, a jury trial held in Boise to determine the damages. And on February 28th of 2026, the jury awards Rebecca Schofield $10 million in damages. Hi, Joe. Good to see you. So she's awarded $10 million. Crazy amount of money in this defamation case. So the case has now reached final judgment on damages. On June 6th, the judge granted Schofield's motion for partial summary judgment, ruling that Ashley was liable for defamation. That ruling resolved the question of liability entirely, leaving only the amount of damages to be determined. A jury trial began at the federal courthouse in Boise in late February 2026. It was held solely to decide how much money Schofield would be awarded in economic and non-economic damages. The jury returned its verdict on February 28, 2026, ordering Ashley to pay Rebecca $10 million. And Ashley here represented herself at the trial. She she did that. In a statement after the jury's verdict, Schofield thanks the jurors and noted that the judge had already ruled as a matter of law that the statements were false. The $10 million verdict reinforces the judge's decision and sends the clear message that false statements online have consequences in the real world for real people and are unacceptable in our community, she said. The murders of the 4 students on November 13th, 2022 was the darker chapter in our university's history. Was the darkest chapter, in our university's history. Today's decision shows that respect and care should always be granted to victims during these tragedies. I am hopeful that this difficult chapter in my life is over and I can return to a more normal life with my family and the wonderful Moscow community. Ashley Gilliard, who represented herself during the 4-day proceedings, continued releasing videos accusing Schofield of involvement in the case up until Kohberger was sentenced to 4 life terms last August. So, like, she didn't stop, and you'll see she kind of still isn't really stopping. But anyway, the jurors deliberated for just 2 hours. Only 2 hours of deliberations before they awarded Rebecca Schofield $10 million. That is 10 times more than the $1 million that her lawyer asked for. The bulk of the award, which is $7.5 million, is for punitive damages, and the rest is compensatory. So, like, just crazy. That she definitely does not have the 10 million. Well, see, that's a whole other thing, isn't it? So, yeah, she also did an interview with Fox News where she said pretty much the same thing, that she was, looking forward to returning to a normal life after all of this. But now, what does Ashley here think about everything that's going on? Well, before we get into that, I think we need to start at the beginning. So when Ashley was going to court, Atosi actually went, and he was at the courthouse. And I have his video here of the 3rd day. It was a 4-day trial, and apparently things were just really crazy.
The 3rd day of the TikTok Psychics defamation case here in Boise, Idaho, and today was honestly...
Okay, Boise, Idaho. I'm going to assume he knows how to say it better than I do.
Equally as insane or even more insane than yesterday. So today we found out that the professor had been diagnosed with PTSD after the slander coming from Ashley Gilliard, who is the TikTok psychic. So, she made so many videos accusing her of being the mastermind behind the murders of the 4 students at the University of Idaho.
Now, she claimed that Rebecca had a relationship with one of the girls, which this was like never a thing. Like she just made stuff up off the top of her head. I swear to God, she just Googled teachers at like professors at this university, came up with Rebecca just from seeing her listed as part of the faculty, just like a random picking her. And then was like, oh, she had a relationship with one of the girls and she didn't want anyone to find out. So she hired somebody to go in there and kill the girls. And Bryan was there, but he actually tried to stop it. Like, it was insanity, the things that she was saying. And like a lot of people were believing this girl because she was a TikTok psychic. And so a lot of people went to her for true crime psychic stuff and other psychic stuff. And if you know me, I don't believe in fucking psychics. But if you do, this one you shouldn't believe in. And she was just making stuff up, but then she was claiming it was her abilities that were giving her this knowledge. So some people were believing her. And then poor Rebecca was getting like harassed to shit over it. because people were like, you're a murderer, you crazy bitch. Like, it was insanity. And then finally, like, creators on here kind of saw what was going on, and they came out and they were like, this lady's crazy, this TikTok psychic girl. And so finally, like, you know, some normalcy appeared. But I can just imagine, like, the stress. I'm pretty sure, too, like, she had to take time off of work. I covered it all in my first live stream about this back in 2022. But, like, she went through a lot over this. So I don't blame her for getting some kind of, like, PTSD, you know? If you pronounce it correctly, I'd wonder if you are feeling well. It's true. It's true. I'm very bad at names, especially.
This by bringing on the specialist who diagnosed her with PTSD.
Man.
Essentially, we get it confirmed that she has PTSD, she has an anxiety disorder, and a handful of other things that stems from the TikTok psychic's slander campaign against her. Now, Ashley, because, you know, she's representing herself, she went up to the questioning stand and started questioning this mental health professional.
Oh, my Lord. Could you imagine a TikTok psychic questioning a mental health professional on anything, really, but especially in this?
And the whole time, she started essentially just trying to say that, like, how are you qualified to diagnose her with PTSD? And then she pulled up the definition of, like, how to diagnose someone with PTSD. And we stood on one paper for about an hour. So she questioned this mental health professional over a paper for 1 hour. And this isn't just like a paper. It's actually like, it's 4 different sentences. And she kept on trying to have them read it out loud so she could, like, try to find some, like, way around to be like, no, actually, she didn't have a valid reason to be diagnosed with PTSD. It was insane. It was sickening to watch. And then they brought on the mother of the professor to testify how much her daughter had been suffering from this and how she'd been suffering from PTSD and anxiety and chronic stress after all of this happened. And Ashley then decided to start asking her questions of, well, are you a mental health professional? How would you know that she's actually dealing with stress?
I don't know, because she's my child and I'm watching it happen. I'm here as a witness to say that I've seen the effects. What do you mean?
The whole thing was so insane to watch. But tomorrow, it's going to be even crazier. Subscribe and follow and stay tuned for that, or watch yesterday's video to get part 1 of this.
So yeah, you can go and watch Tozy's videos if you want to watch him covering the whole thing. You know what happened. She's just a crazy person. She's crazy. She is so crazy that during all of this, she was kind of spazzing out on social media still. Saying several months ago, about going on a year ago now, that she was being stalked.
Does anybody recognize this voice? Anybody from the Idaho 4 community or whatever recognize the stalker's voice?
Now, listen, this
stalker has been...
Hold on. I had to literally put the pink there because she was showing the phone number. I don't care if it's not this person's phone number, if it's a spoof phone number. I don't know what phone number it is, but we will not be showing the phone number. How good of a psychic was she if she didn't foresee she would lose the case, dumbass? Right? How dare you have sunshine there? It's raining here. Well, it will probably rain here tomorrow. Yay.
Calling me since the inception of the civil case, Schofield versus Gillard. Does anybody recognize this voice? Anybody from the Idaho 4 community or whatever recognize the stalker's voice? I'm literally about to just press charges and do what I can to find out who this person is because they keep spoof calling me. The number is not his number. So he calls from different numbers and he's been calling me for over 2.5 years. He even called me on Christmas Day. I want to say last year, last Christmas, not this previous one, but the year before that, this person just continues to call me. Anybody recognize his voice?
Martin.
Now, okay, I do not agree with calling her up on the phone and harassing her. But this is very obviously some random troll. Take it from me. Someone who has been trolled a lot on the internet. This is just obviously just some random troll. But she keeps trying to say that it has to do with Rebecca. Like Rebecca has now hired this person to stalk her on the phone.
Martin who?
Right?
I'm just calling you because you forgot to claim your Worst Writer of the Year award.
Okay.
You know that you're a terrible writer, right?
It's not even a good troll, my dude. Like if you're gonna troll, at least troll, go all out or something.
So when this person called me, I was working on my reply to response. It was literally...
Once again, if you were a psychic, you would know who it is, right? Why do you have to ask us, Ashley? Don't you have tarot cards you can pull out? Don't they tell you?
Do within the hours, and the stalker calls me on the same day that I have a filing due with the civil case. And it has happened most...
Now, this is hilarious because she says, the stalker calls me on the same day that I have a filing due in a civil case, and I only have an hour to get it done. She's acting like the court was like, you have 1 hour to file this paperwork, go. That's not how it works. She would have had weeks, maybe even months, to file this paperwork by this date. She's just waiting till the last minute or something. I don't know. But that just kind of made me giggle because she's like, and I only have an hour. And I'm like, that's your fault. Why did you wait that long, Ashley? If you're going to troll, make it worth your time, right? At least make it funny.
Times when I've had filings due in the case. So I believe it to be related to the people who are suing me. Also, it's no such thing as a coincidence, but they call every time, mostly, not every time, but mostly when I have a filing due in an attempt to stress me out. How much are you getting paid for this?
See, they're actually paying me in donuts.
Yeah, they're paying him in donuts. Rebecca Schofield is paying him in donuts to call you on the phone, Ashley, every time you have to file something with the courts, just to mess with the civil case. You caught him.
How much is Schofield and her attorneys paying you for this?
Who paying me?
How much? You know who I'm talking about. Why are you calling and harassing me?
Oh, because they paid me to do it.
Also, I'm recording this call. Just letting you know.
Oh, you're recording?
Yes.
Okay.
I know this is a fictitious number, but I am recording this call.
Okay, are you going to report this phone number?
No, but I do have authority to find out who you are.
What authority do you have? Again, if you're a psychic.
Okay. And what,
I know this phone number is not a real number. There's no reason to report the number.
Oh, okay. So, when are you gonna find out who the number is connected to? What's the ETA on that?
You'll find out when I find out.
Oh, when you find out. Okay. Mm-hmm. Do you think that'll be anytime?
You're kind of flirting now. I'm just saying.
Soon?
It doesn't matter, as long as it happens.
Oh, it doesn't matter. Okay, well, if it doesn't matter, then why are you even wasting your time with that?
Today is April 21st, 7:26 p.m.
Oh, I'm glad that you know what date it is. Good for you. I mean, you're not good at a lot of things, but at least you figured that one out.
Also, I have a filing deadline, and this stalker is calling me on a filing deadline in the case of Schofield versus Gillard, just to make that clear.
That's the case where
you already know. You already know. Why are you calling me?
That's the case that you made fake claims against a poor woman for no reason because you're mentally ill. I remember that one.
A poor woman?
Yeah, that poor woman who's like, you almost destroyed her life because you're mentally ill and you're just crazy and you don't want to get any psychiatric help.
And who?
I mean, he's not wrong.
Told you to call me? Who gave you my number?
Eduardo.
Now you're just making up names?
No.
Well, no shit, Ashley. Like, did you think you were going to be like, who got you to call me? And then he was going to dox himself to you? Like, what did you think was going to happen?
That's what he goes by. I mean, his street name is like Team Money.
Team Money!
And what is your name?
Oh, my name?
Yes.
My name's Eduardo.
He could also, I don't know. It does sound like he's trying to mask his real voice as well.
Not really.
Did you get that? Do you need me to spell it out for you?
No, I'm just going to report this call. I'm just going to block you, but,
Wait. If it's a fictitious number, though, what's the point of blocking it?
Doesn't matter.
It does.
You'll have to create a new one. You'll have to keep creating numbers.
Okay, but like, what if? Just hear me out.
Just hear me out.
I didn't want to hear him out, but honestly, they really need to do more about spoofers because it's ridiculous that not only stalkers and harassers.
Like, who? Who needs to do more? I don't know if they can. Like, the phone companies are doing everything they can to stop that. And, like, if you're getting harassed, like, you call the police. I don't know if they'd really do anything. They just kind of go there and tell the guy to stop calling you if they did find out who it is. Like, nothing is really going to happen from this because it's not related to Rebecca. It's probably just some person on the internet. Like, sweetie, you went viral for this. So, like, there are people that will just, because you put your phone number out there for your tarot card readings. So I tell the MLM people not to put their phone number out on the internet too. There are some people that will just be like, oh, look, phone number. I'm going to call it. I'm going to do prank calls now. Remember the 90s when we used to all do prank calls? It's still kind of a thing. So, like, if you're going viral for being a shitty person and your number's out there, unfortunately, people are going to probably call you and harass you. It sucks. I don't agree with it. Do not harass anyone I ever cover. But it's like, what is this video now supposed to do? Like to me now doing this is really just going to get other people wanting to call you so that they can then be in the video.
Like him, but also organizations should not be able to just continuously change their numbers and harass you.
No.
Whether it's a consumer, lender, whoever it is, or this random loser that's calling me. But I don't think he's so random. I believe him to be connected to the Schofield versus Gillard case.
Why?
And yeah, so anybody recognize this voice or know who this is? If so, let me know.
Anyway, I don't think anyone let her know. I think everyone was just like, sure, girl. And then just went about their day. Joe says, I understand you don't want to change your number, but sometimes you have to, right? This is one of those situations where maybe you should change your number. Oh, but she wasn't done yet. When she wasn't talking about getting stalked, she was telling people to go themselves.
My reputation is destroyed. The TikTok page that I built for years is gone. She's winning in court. My business is ruined. Why do y'all keep commenting? What else could you possibly want?
Again, you kind of did that to yourself. I'm just saying. And if you're wondering about the comments and what she's talking about in terms of comments, she kept uploading, like I said, so people kept commenting to her. And then at one point, she actually uploads a whole video in which she decides to react to people's comments about her.
You are a public figure or somebody who gets a lot of media attention.
Yeah, because She's a public figure now. And someone that gets a lot of media attention. Not really. I mean, she's covered if something happens in the case, and it was big news when it was first going on, and people are talking about it again because of the $10 million, but I think most people don't know who she is. She's not exactly a household name. But this is just unbelievable. Like, look at this shit and how she acts here.
And this
was only like 10 months ago, too. So they were like still going through court for all of this stuff. It's insanity.
Especially negative comments, like positive comments are much needed. But the negative comments are also like, people just read them. And I'm one of those people. Sometimes I read the comments on my videos and other people's videos. So this video was, I already watched this video. So I'm not going to watch it again because my son showed me this video a long time ago. Well, not a long time ago. I guess it was whatever it was new. But it's the TikTok psychic who solved the murders. And of course, he's watching from a content creator who's not telling the truth about the situation. Or I don't want to say that Atozi is lying intentionally, but who cares? He's just posting content and he doesn't have all the details. He's just posting what he thinks he knows and he knows nothing. Anyway, so the comments are obviously going to be biased because they are being told the wrong things. So their comments are based on being told the wrong thing, but I'm still going to read them. All right, so let me move this over so I won't be looking to the side too much. All right, let's start with, should I go to newest? If Ashley had taken her readings, changed the names, and put them all into writing, she honestly could have made a best-selling novel. But no, she has to use real people and lie about them for TikTok clout. You know what? I'm going to respond to this one because a lot of people make this reference to me lying on someone for TikTok clout, but that makes absolutely no sense. It doesn't make sense for the lawyers to have spread that false rumor, and it doesn't make sense for people to repeat it. Here's why. People who are claircognizant, like I, or psychic, or clairaudient, or what do they call themselves? Clairaudient, clairsentient, whatever it is, where they receive knowledge or information that is a priori, which means they get it by other means other than physical touch or physical experience or evidence. We get notoriety. We get a following. We get business based off being correct. We don't get it based off being wrong. If a person goes to a psychic and that psychic is correct, there's a return client. I have loyal people who come to me. They don't just come to me because they don't come to me because I'm wrong. They come to me because they got a reading from me previously and I was right. So in this business, in this industry, it is important to get things right. On TikTok or on general readings, there are going to be people who claim to be psychic who do not take any risk. They just put out general information and people resonated with it because it's general information that could resonate with multiple people. They're not risk takers. They can be just people who understand people. They don't have to be an actual psychic to do that. I don't call those people, they could be psychics, but they don't have faith in what they do. So I don't have faith in what they do because they don't. So they don't talk about specific details. Excuse my nail, it broke today. Let me put on some lotion too.
That's the least of your worries.
They don't talk about specific details. They don't give out specific information. They talk generally because they don't have confidence in what they do, or they're just not really gifted. So,
or maybe they don't want to accuse somebody of committing a crime that hasn't committed a crime, or they don't want to mess with the case. That would be a good reason. I'm just saying. You know, I like the true crime channels that don't fuck with the cases as they're going on.
So those are the people who are probably just putting out information that's just going to resonate with a lot of people anyway. You know, I could post a video on YouTube saying that tomorrow you're going to make a lot of money, or you're going to get married, or someone is in love with you. That's how they make money, from drawing a big audience.
Maybe you should have done that instead. Wouldn't have cost you $10 million.
People want someone to love them. A lot of people want to make money. A lot of people are drawn to those messages and want to resonate with those messages. And it may connect with a lot of people. Then they might talk about being hated on or being targeted. A lot of people feel targeted. A lot of people feel hated on. So multiple people are going to be drawn to those psychics because they speak to multiple people generally who experience a lot of those general life experiences. So people like me who can speak to specific details and I'm confident about the things that I do is because I've been routinely correct doing it that way. Therefore, this whole notion of lying for clout makes no sense.
Girl, how did you even get the information? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, you literally made up a full relationship that she was having with one of these girls. We don't even know, because it's none of my business, so I never looked into it. But we don't even know, like, the sexual orientation of the girl that you made up the lie about, because, again, that's none of our business. But, like, you just, like, said that they were having some kind of affair. It's like, I don't understand what is going on and, like, why you would be doing that. If you weren't just making it up, where did it come from? Okay? Somebody made it up, because none of it is true. So if you read it somewhere, that person made it up and then you ran with it. Either way, you're lying, and you were kind of doing it for clout. You were getting attention. You did it during the case. So they were trying to figure out who the murderer was, and you showed up like, I know who it is. It's this girl, this professor. So people were paying attention to you. Because they were like, how does this girl know who it is? Oh, she's a psychic. Wow, let's see if she's right. And then you weren't right. You know? Girl, take some time off and go binge watch The Mentalist. Right? Like, it's like she still won't accept it.
Because, again, being correct brings a psychic or clairvoyant or claircognizant person notoriety, business, followers, people. Being right does that.
List them all.
Lying does not. Integrity brings an audience, a true audience. Integrity does. Especially if you are speaking specifically about events and trying to help generally, like I was genuinely trying to help. Integrity helps.
No.
A lack of integrity, that's easily pointed out. That doesn't.
I can't say you were trying to help. Because like I said, there's just made up information. There was nothing helpful about that. I don't even know how your intentions could have been to help. You know you don't know anything about the case while you're sitting there talking about it. So, like, how were your intentions to help, you know? I feel like you're saying that now because you got caught and sued.
I help a quote-unquote psychic, or I call myself claircognizant because I don't resonate with the word psychic, but other people do, which is why I use it. So anyway, that makes no sense. Also, I could have wrote a book about, I do write books about solving mysteries. I did not do it this time because obviously I was sued for defamation. And additionally, someone else wrote a book using my ideas and other people's ideas. There's another book about it. I could still write a book about it, but obviously my book would be more so about my experience in addition to what happened if I was to go that route. But
imagine buying her book to figure out how to solve crimes as a psychic. The girl that got sued for $10 million.
I wouldn't lie in a book either. I don't lie in my books. So there's that.
Defamation.
Could I have a career in horror or thrillers? Maybe. But that's not what my goal was this time.
Yeah, maybe you should write fantasy novels.
My purpose is totally different from that. It could be something else that I could do. Anyway, I just spent too much time on that comment. That's another one. Oh, you know where I haven't read these comments, so I'm going to just give it an eye over. As someone who used to do tarot, it has always been a big point in the community that for the cards to truly work, you need to have the customer present. It was also suggested in a lot of books to have the person touch the cards. See, I'm not sure maybe she's from whatever community she's from. I'm not from a witchy community. I'm not from a witchy family. I'm not from a tarot family. I'm not from a family of esoterics. I may be the only.
Which is weird because, okay, whenever I talk to people that are believers of this kind of thing, it's usually passed down from a family member, or like their family is into that kind of thing. It's not very often that someone is just randomly like, I have these magical powers. My understanding of it anyway.
Known esoteric in my family I studied Kabbalah. I studied Jewish mysticism. I even quit my job to continue on to my spiritual journey. Focused solely on it, of course, being a mother, but my spiritual journey was top priority in my life for years, over 7 years.
It was really to be a mother.
So I left my job 2016, I want to say. Yeah, end of 2016. So, this is not just a regular job. I was like in federal HR. I built a career for myself, and I had a promising future in the federal government, a master's degree in HR as well. I left that behind to study esoteric and mysticism and more life as promised by the Bible. So for me, I don't resonate with this comment because I'm not from those communities. I'm a self-studier. Also, spiritual journeys are also self-journeys anyway. Also, I don't need to be present by someone, and I don't need to have them touch the cards for them work. I do readings online to my customers. I had more customers previously, obviously, but to those who have been loyal to me, some of them I've never met in person, and I've gotten it right. Even predicted pregnancies, predicted death, predicted even location of bodies, predicted things that.
When? Because like when we were looking into you before, it was just a long list of you being wrong about things. So when have you predicted the location of a body where it has actually helped solve a case? I feel like you would definitely be telling us that whole story right now.
Has happened to people before they were found,
She has a berserker demon. We need Bob Larson.
The things of that sort. Predicted commitments, babies, so many different things for multiple people. I don't have to be around the person, nor do I have to touch them.
Right, it was someone that came to her and they were like, I'm dying of cancer. I have 3 months to live. When will I pass away? And she said, in 2.5 months. And then she was like, I predicted that.
Cards for that to work for me. Now for them, I'm not sure, but a lot of people just practice tarot, but not really in tune spiritually. So maybe that's why they have all this extra stuff to make them feel better about what they do.
I think it's kind of seedy to practice tarot and claim you're talking to dead people or you're solving murders with it. If you're going to do it, just do it for fun.
What is this? Joe being the true psychic, predicting Rebecca not having a lawyer, or the professor not even being the student's teacher. Maybe this person meant that the psychic, referring to me, did not have a lawyer. I went pro se because that's what I wanted to do. I felt like I would be the best person to fight my case, specifically because I'm telling the truth and I'm claircognizant. So,
yeah, big narcissist vibes. She's the smartest one in the room, even smarter than all the lawyers.
I would have had to find a lawyer who believed both of that, who knows what Jewish mysticism is, Kabbalah, and I know a lot of them do know what Kabbalah is, but also Kabbalistic tarot and also claircognizance. So I would need a lawyer to understand who I am and why I wasn't just going to bow down.
Funny thing is, you weren't on trial for your psychic abilities. None of that mattered. Doesn't matter, because you can't go into court and be like, oh, I have psychic abilities and my intuition told me that this was true. And that's why I told everyone. So even though it was defamation, because I spread it far and wide as fact and caused like this woman's life to be ruined, I am magic. So it's all okay. Blame it on the magic instead. Like, that doesn't fly. It doesn't, nobody gives a fuck if you're psychic or not, if you have magical powers or not. What mattered in this court case was, what did you say about Rebecca Schofield in relation to this case publicly? Was it true or defamation? And did you doing that cause her distress? And loss of money, loss of a job, loss of giving her PTSD. Like, did it affect her and her life in a negative way? Where if you hadn't had come out and publicly said all this, her life would not have been affected in that way. That's it. Again, doesn't matter if you're psychic, doesn't matter if you had tarot cards that literally said right on them, Rebecca's guilty. Like, that doesn't matter. All that matters is you said stuff publicly as fact that wasn't true, and it caused her harm. So you wasted your fucking time, and you should have gotten a goddamn lawyer who understood the law and what was actually going on in the courtroom, because it was very apparent that you didn't.
And admit to something that I didn't do to settle a case when that is not the way to go. And also who understood the big picture of why this is occurring and the big picture of what could happen or what could change the world based on my case. I'm not going to go with a lawyer, pay a lawyer to do something that I can do as well. I can use my time, even though would rather use my time making a lot more money, but using my time learning the law, implementing the law, being pro se is an experience. It's a learning experience, and it's something that I don't mind doing. I wanted to go to law school anyway.
A $10 million learning experience.
This is not the way to learn law. Of course, I would want to go to school and learn law, but I can learn by experience as well. Lord. And I'm master's degree educated. I can write. So I have all these things going for myself. Why not go be pro se? If things were happening fairly in this case.
She literally said, I'm educated. I can write. That doesn't mean you're educated. That just means that you're literate. Congratulations, though. I hear that's not common in the U.S.
And which is something that I've learned as well, because it's not always about the law. Sometimes it's just about who you know as well, and also the perspective of the judge. They're supposed to be non-biased, but sometimes they are biased. So, but anyway, predicting that I didn't have a lawyer, okay, whatever. And I never said she taught the students. I never said.
Yeah, like the judge was just biased because he didn't believe in psychics. I bet the lawyers she approached were all psychics and saw a dead-ass case. You're right. I can write, but I would want a lawyer, right? Imagine being like, I can write the alphabet, so I should be fine. I'll represent myself. Like,
that the professor taught the students. I said she was more like a mentor, and that was the beginning of the relationship with her. And
I am a lawyer, and I would want a lawyer. That's the thing, though, is that that's actually true. That if a lawyer goes to court, they often don't represent themselves. They'll hire another lawyer. Like, because it's not the same. The only time that I've ever seen people represent themselves is like when the person is a complete narcissist. And like some funky things are going on. Like the cases here. You know what I mean? In like murder cases, it's like the serial killer is representing himself because he's a psychopath, and again, he's a narc, so he thinks he's gonna win. You know, like it's not usually a good thing. You know, you never hear, and they're representing themselves and think, oh, that's wonderful. That will go great. I mean, I guess it was wonderful for Rebecca. I'm sure she heard it and she was like, perfect. Because I would have totally, if I were her and they were like, listen, she's representing herself, I would have been like, fucking let's go.
One of the victims. All right.
I got this one in the
What's
bag.
also frustrating about this woman is that she is spreading misinformation about tarot cards. Tarot cards are never meant to read the future. They were always meant to offer guidance and different subjects to the client. Tarot cards are never meant for predicting the future. This is somebody who you will not want to get a reading from.
Actually, that's the exact person who I would want to get a reading from, because they actually understand tarot cards and the history behind them. Actually. They're supposed to be used for guidance. And usually, the more ethical psychics will not tell you, I'm reading these tarots and telling you your future. They will say, this might give you some guidance. You know, almost like, it's written in the stars for you. Let's see what they have to say. That kind of thing. All right? They're going to tell you that you can also change the outcome of it. right? They're not going to be like, I am a psychic. This is what your future holds. Let's pull these cards. That is a scam artist. So that's why I say, if you are going to do the tarot card thing, go with someone like that isn't just going to scam you and claim that they're going to give you your future, because that's not actually what it's for, as this commenter said. It's supposed to be of more like a guide, you know? It's supposed to like ask it questions and then see what the answers are, for example. Almost like an 8-ball. But not in the sense that it for sure tells you your future. You know? That's what I mean when it comes to psychic stuff. All of it's iffy. It's iffy. Unethical. Scammy. And then when you're adding in true crime, it's even worse. Because like I said, then it messes with the cases sometimes. I don't know why they bring psychics into criminal cases. If something ever happens to me, make sure they don't do that. I'll be pissed. I will come back and haunt all of you.
Because they don't know anything about spirituality. They're only just focusing on like tarot cards. They're not obviously psychic. They're not claircognizant, clairaudient, or anything, or they wouldn't be saying what tarot cannot do. There's no limitations on if the tarot brings information.
Jesus Christ, now there's no limitations to what the tarot can do. She's going all out with it.
It's not going to say, oh, I'm only going to give information on this subject. That's not true. I have the ability, again, using tools to read into the past, future, present, intent, predictions, as well as things that has occurred in the past. So when people say stuff like this, it just means that they don't know what tarot is and cannot read the cards. And they are projecting their limitation on the entire industry of esoterics who have the ability to read messages.
Esoterics. Yes, esoterics.
You know where the crazy comments are? The crazy comments are on Manifestor's videos.
She's like looking for comments to get upset about. It's great.
She just made her own fanfic. Again, that's just stupid. That's just something one person said. I'm learning that people are really dumb too. Like when one person says something, it just goes, a lot of people just repeat what's already been said. It's almost like people are just really dumb. All right, let me see.
Okay. We're like, that's how we felt about the people that believed your bullshit about Rebecca. But anyway.
Do I want to read?
Would you Google yourself and it's not good?
I don't think I want to read any of these comments. I'm not watching the videos because they don't offer value to me. Okay, so this video is
they don't offer value to me. I'm not watching the videos because they don't offer value to me.
About Hitler, I presented a motion, or I filed a motion for access to records regarding the non-disclosed records regarding the King World homicides, the state of Idaho versus Bryan Kohberger. And Judge Hitler struck my motion from the record. And
because the actual case doesn't matter in the defamation case. Okay, there's nothing in the court files with Bryan Kohberger that is going to mention Rebecca Schofield because she had nothing to do with it. Nothing at all. Not even connected in the slightest. Not even a tiny bit. Didn't even know Bryan. So she wasn't there that night. Wasn't near the place that night. Nowhere near it. There was no way for those cases to be connected, okay? She was completely innocent. So the judge is looking at your motion, looking at those files and going, that's a fucking waste of time and resources. Why would you even need those? It's not like you'd be able to pick apart the case and then prove that you're right about Rebecca all along. And quite frankly, I'm glad that the judge kind of was like, no, we're not going to be doing that. Like, imagine being the family of the victims and then having this going on like the side, you know? And it's just like, why does she want those court documents, the weirdo? You know? I love taking psychics apart. If she could, would she not get the winning lottery numbers, win the 10 million? She might have to pay it back. She's going to be paying this for the rest of her life. But yeah, she doesn't seem to be understanding that Rebecca is completely innocent and not connected. The defamation was her saying that she was. So she's like, if I could just get the court files on the actual murder case, then I could prove myself right. And it's like, you can't.
Also denied the motion simply because I was not a proper party to the case. I did not file a motion to be an interceder or intervener or something like that. That motion should have been first, and then once I got leave, if the court accepted my motion for leave to be added as a party to the case as an intervener, then I would have filed the motion to access documents. But I just went straight to the motion to access documents based on anybody can file in the case. You don't have to be a party to a case to file a motion in the case. So, but anyway, Judge Hippler said no, and he said simply to submit it through a public records request, and that's what I did. I don't need to be an intervener to just receive, if I'm able to just receive the documents otherwise. So she was like she thought that was so funny.
Oh, Lord.
I feel like we're going to actually need to talk about that soon. I haven't been wanting to waste time on this channel. Idaho channel. Everything is alleged. Okay, so I don't know how many people have been keeping up with the whole.
Anyway, she thought that was really funny, or she was like,
okay,
really happy about the judge.
Never mind that. I guess you're not going to show us.
Denying me access to the records, which is ignorant because any member of the public, especially those who understand the law and the need for transparency in public cases, which this is a public case, this is a place. Anytime it's the state versus anything, that's a public case. It's about the public. The citizens should want transparency in those cases. So being denied access to documents should not be something that is celebrated, regardless if you like the person or not. But let's read some of these comments.
Like,
okay,
what?
Being a psychic, she should have known the answer to be no. Why even bother?
They're saying what you said, Violet. They're like, if she was a psychic, she should have known all this.
Just because I think something is going to be denied doesn't mean that it's not my job to still do what I'm supposed to do.
Ma'am, if you're a psychic, it kind of is your job to see the future, though, isn't it? Is that not? That's exactly what your job is.
Even if a judge is, I'm not saying Hitler, but a judge is crooked or biased towards me, I'm still going to do my part and request access to documents. I'm still going to do my part and file motions for reconsideration.
Yeah, that's what was up. The judge was just biased and just hated you. You figured it out.
I'm still going to do what I'm supposed to do. The excuse is not going to be, well, you didn't ask. Well, you didn't file the motion. No, because then if I don't do it and I say, well, I didn't do it because I predicted that, they would say, no, that's just silly. You have to allow a person to say no.
Why? Again, if you're psychic and you knew they'd say no, why even waste the time?
Or yes. If you are starting a business and you want funds and you think the bank is going to say no, well, let the bank tell you no. You don't tell yourself no.
Sorry to think you're not really a psychic.
I tell that to people all the time. If you want something and you don't think it's going to happen for you, well, maybe it won't. But don't tell yourself no. Let them say no. As long as I'm doing the right thing, that's all I can worry about. And in this case, he did deny my motion. But he gave me an alternate option, which was to file a request on the 88 County website for access to public records. And that's what I did.
They probably wanted to make sure that certain things were like, redacted. When she got the documents, they're like, we don't need her to try to get involved any more than she already has, okay? Right? Love it. Every excuse in the book, right?
All right.
Except for I just made up a bunch of stories to get involved in this case for some TikTok clip, which in my opinion is what actually happened here.
Calling Miss Cleo, she'd be like, I see a large phone bill in your future. Not funny. Also, she was laughing because she thought that the court doxed me, and then she went and proceeded to put my address and phone number in one of her videos. These people are just haters, so I'm gonna just get off hers because I think she's just a hater. Some people, they post negative content about me because they're simply haters. They wish they could do what I do. They can't. They're just haters. They're just haters. and in competition because she wanna. I don't know what she's trying to say.
Everyone's just jealous. We all just want to be tarot card psychics on TikTok who get involved in murder cases and get sued for $10 million. Isn't that what you guys all want to be? You guys are all jealous.
I did anything for clout, but she literally has a channel where she posts about Idaho for as well. So what is she doing it for? And I didn't get paid for my videos.
And please do. Let us know when you ask the bank if they're willing to lend you the $10 million. Let's see. Oh, that now. That's going to suck.
She's definitely getting paid for hers. So who's really doing it for clout? But anyway, I'm not saying anybody reporting on this is wrong, though. Again, it's a public case and the public should be talking about it. All right, let's look at Lena's comment.
She's just getting mad that no one's saying she's right about it.
Lena, on her live, she went over the motion. I don't agree with everything she says, but I appreciate her authenticity of her being herself. A lot of these other channels are just, they're not really themselves. Okay. What are some comments on here? Oh, yeah, I was going to go to Madcasters. I'll do his next. I'll do his. Yeah, next.
What are we doing here? Literally just looking for things.
It's a lot of comments about, she had multiple things in this video, so the comments are not just going to be about me.
Oh, no.
Oh, that's funny. Somebody, well, it's not funny. I cannot with this case anymore. I understand it's a lot of craziness with this case, and not because of me.
Not because of me, she says. A lot of craziness in this case. Not because of me. That's about all I can put up with that. Lord, there's another like 30 minutes of her just going through. Basically, again, she still seems to think that she's right. And so finally, she did a video in which she responded to the $10 million verdict. It's called "To Whom It May Concern" regarding the 10 mil verdict. You guys ready for this? She really needs to find a better hobby for real. Doing the tarot card thing's just not working out for her at all. It's just not. So she finally took to the TikTok to do this amazing response here. Get ready. This is quite the video.
People are coming to my page to see my response or to get information regarding how I feel about the $10 million verdict that was awarded to Rebecca Schofield. First, my thoughts are it's just slightly irritating because I was ready for this to be over. I wanted to receive a verdict that was fair and impartial and based on the evidence. And unfortunately, that did not happen. And because the jury could not be fair and impartial and base their decision on the evidence, we have to keep going. Now, instead of this being over, we have to go through a process of motions and appeals so that we can get to a fair and impartial decision.
Mm-hmm. And the decision was that she owed $10 million. And so her thing now is that the judge was against her. They fucked it up. They didn't believe her when she is the one that is telling the truth. And I wouldn't be surprised if she's going to try to fight this verdict in court. Excuse me. I don't know if she can. I don't know if she can appeal this and go back. I'm not really sure like what that would look like. I'm not really sure what it would look like going forward much in terms of her paying the $10 million. Because, you know, she doesn't have that just laying around. But it'll be interesting. You got a fair and impartial verdict. I know. She just won't accept it. She just won't accept it. And she still seems to think she was right. Like, she's like, I don't understand why people don't believe me. And it's like, dude, the guy that did it has been put away. And Rebecca had nothing to do with it. That's already been proven in court. What do you mean? Lordy, she is stupid. She really is. She really is. Right? So, one of the most striking parts of this lawsuit is that Ashley defended her accusations by saying she received the information through psychic intuition and spiritual insight. In court, that argument didn't protect her. The jury made it clear that when someone publicly names a real person and accuses them of committing or orchestrating a violent crime, the source of the claim doesn't matter. Whether it comes from research, a hunch, a dream, or a supposed psychic message, the law still treats it as a factual allegation if it's presented as true. Spread around on the internet. This is important for creators because the true crime space is full of people who blend intuition, vibes, tarot readings, or spiritual language into their commentary. There's nothing wrong with spiritual content on its own. Like I said, if you're just doing fun little, here's some love tarot card readings or something, I'm not going to complain about it. But the moment that it crosses into naming real individuals as criminals, it becomes defamation territory. The Idaho case shows that courts will not accept "I'm psychic" as a shield against accountability. Thank God for that, right? Especially when the claims cause real harm to someone's reputation, career, and their mental health, as we heard. This poor Rebecca has PTSD now from this. I'm sure this has not been a great time. It also highlights how quickly audiences can take these statements seriously. Even if a creator frames their content as entertainment or spiritual practice, viewers may interpret it as investigative truth, especially in a high-profile case where emotions are already running high. That's how misinformation spreads, and why this verdict is a wake-up call for anyone mixing spiritual content with real-world crime stories. There needs to be a clear line drawn there. For the true crime community, this is a reminder that intuition is not evidence, neither are your tarot cards. And presenting it as such, especially when it targets a private citizen, can have life-altering consequences. The line between commentary and accusation is sharper than many creators realize, and this case shows what happens when that line is crossed. Excuse me. Jesus. Still a little sick. This case matters because it shows in a very real and very expensive way, very expensive, that the true crime space isn't a free-for-all, despite many people seeming to think it is. Just saying. When Ashley repeatedly accused University of Idaho professor Rebecca Schofield of orchestrating the 2022 murders, a federal jury found those claims were not theories, not intuitions, and not content. They were false statements presented as fact, and they caused measurable harm. The result was a $10 million defamation judgment against Ashley, delivered after jurors deliberated for less than 2 hours. For creators, this verdict draws a bright line, a really big line. Make sure you're drawing it, you're seeing it, if you're out there and you're covering this kind of thing. When you name a real person and accuse them of a crime without any evidence, just tarot cards, you're no longer in the realm of commentary. Freedom of speech doesn't really protect you. You're making a factual allegation, and the law treats that the same way whether you're a journalist, a podcaster, or a TikToker with a ring light and a theory and a deck of tarot cards. The Idaho case shows how quickly speculation can turn into reputational damage, harassment, and legal liability, especially when videos go viral and the accused person is a private citizen with no connection to the crime. Again, she had no connection to it. None. Zero. None whatsoever. For audiences, it's a reminder that viral theories can ruin innocent people's lives. Before you run with something, please just stop. All right? Think critically, do some research. Don't just hear what somebody says in a video and then go running with it as true. Please, we need to bring back critical thinking. Algorithms reward the most sensational claims. That's why I'm not pushed out on it much. Not the most accurate ones. And viewers often can't tell the difference unless creators make those boundaries clear. It's up to us, guys. We're the ones that have to do that. I'm just saying. It's up to us. This verdict signals a shift. Courts are beginning to hold online commenters to the same standard as traditional media when they present accusations as facts. Some of you might be excited. Some of you want to be seen as actual media. So congratulations. Now you are. You can get sued for $10 million for defamation. Good job. In short, the case is a turning point for the true crime genre. I hope. We all hope, right? It reinforces that real tragedies involve real people and that creators have a responsibility to handle those stories with accuracy, restraint, and something called respect. So keep that in mind in future if you are out here and you are covering such cases. Please. Thank you, everyone, for coming and hanging out with me. That's all I've got for you today. Stop going there. That's right. You have freedom of speech, but not freedom from consequences. That's it. See, you're allowed to say it. Just know that now it might be a $10 million consequence. This really did harm her. And I hope that, going forward, she can move on with her life and she can get some help for the PTSD. I also have PTSD, so I know that struggle. That's not fun. And that, everything can kind of go back to normal for her. I'm wishing her all the best. I hope she gets her money, although, like I said, I don't know how that will go. It's kind of sucks when you're trying to draw blood from a stone, but we'll have to see. Maybe we'll hear about it. Maybe not. If I do, though, I will be sure to let you all know. I hope that all of you have a fabulous, amazing rest of your day. Be sure to subscribe if you are new and, like the stream, share it around, get the word out there. And I will see you all for Friday with the Sayers of Nay. That's right. Have a fabulous, fabulous day, guys. Mwah. Bye. Come on, outro. Let's go. Check the description. It is down there. If you want more information. Have a fabulous rest of your day.